Wow. Did you know depression is a growing concern among millennials? With studies showing that this generation is more likely to experience depression than any other age group. The pressures of social media, financial instability, and a rapidly changing world can contribute to feelings of hopelessness and despair. But there is hope. Millennials can turn to God for help in coping with depression and finding healing. By seeking support from their faith community, practicing self-care, and turning to God in prayer, millennials can find the strength to overcome depression and live a life of joy and purpose. On today's podcast, Coping with Depression Among Millennials. Welcome back to today's Man Podcast. If this is your first time, welcome to the show, and thank you for tuning in. Be sure to go back and watch or listen to the audios of our past videos and audio series. This is Vol.153, Part 4 of our series this week dealing with depression. Our theme is numb. What's our recap? Depression is a serious mental health condition that can affect anyone, regardless of your age, gender, or background. Now, today, we'll be discussing the growing concerns of depression among this generation and how they too can turn to God for help. I want to talk about a topic that is becoming increasingly important in our society: coping with the numbing effects of depression among millennials. It's a well-documented fact that depression is a serious mental health condition that affects millions of people worldwide. And millennials are no exception. In fact, studies show that depression rates among young people have been on the rise in recent years. So the question is this: what can we do to cope with depression and find hope in the midst of darkness? Mental health counselors who work with millennials will tell you that they have seen firsthand the impact that depression can have on young people's lives. But they have also seen the power of hope and healing that comes from seeking help and turning to God for guidance. First, let's talk about some of the factors that contribute to depression among millennials. One of the biggest factors is social media. Yep, that's right. While social media can be a great way to connect with others, it can also lead to feelings of isolation, comparison, and inadequacy. Millennials are also facing financial instability, high levels of stress, and lack of community and connection. So here's the next question: what can we do to cope with these challenges to find hope in the midst of depression? One of the most important things is to seek professional help. Depression is a serious condition that requires treatment, and there is no shame in asking for help. A mental health counselor or therapist can provide you with the tools and support you need to cope with symptoms and finding healing. But there is another source of help and healing that we can turn to as well: God. As a Christian, I believe that God is a source of hope and strength in the midst of darkness. He is a loving and compassionate God who cares about our struggles and wants to help us find healing and joy. So, brings me to another question: how can we turn to God for help in coping with depression? One way is through prayer and meditation. Taking time each day to pray and reflect on your faith can help you find peace and perspective in the midst of depression. It can also help you connect with God and feel His presence in your life. Another way to turn to God for help is through community. Finding a faith community where you can connect with others who share your struggles and your faith can be a powerful source of support and encouragement. It can also help you feel less alone and more connected to something greater than yourself. Finally, I want to emphasize that faith is not a substitute for professional help. It's okay to seek both. In fact, many people find that combining therapy and faith-based practices can be a powerful way to cope with depression and finding healing. Now, in addition to seeking professional help and turning to God for guidance, There are other practical steps that we can take to cope with depression. Now, here are just 4 of them. Number 1, take care of your physical health. Eating a healthy diet, getting regular exercise, and getting enough sleep can all help improve your moods and reduce symptoms of depression. Number 2, practice self-care. Taking time to do things that you enjoy, such as reading, listening to music, or spending time in nature, can help us feel more relaxed and less stressed. Number 3, building a support network. Surrounding ourselves with people who care about us and support us can be a powerful way to cope with depression. This can include friends, family members, or support groups. Number 4, setting realistic goals. Setting small, achievable goals can help us feel more in control and give us a sense of accomplishment. So, let me close with this. Coping with depression among millennials is a complex issue that requires a multifaceted approach. Seeking professional help, turning to God for guidance, and taking practical steps to care for ourselves can all be powerful ways to cope with depression and find hope in the midst of darkness. Remember, as I've said before, you are not alone, and there is always hope for healing and joy. Be sure to smash that like button and follow us so you can keep up with upcoming podcasts. And please share us. Don't keep it to yourself. Share the wealth. Until next time, be blessed.